Hey everybody, it's the True Disciple bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. Here we are going on to Khaydarin Depths, and this is Game 2 of a best of 3 for a 2v2. And we are looking at, this is, as mentioned before, this is a clan match of NK versus IPS, and we got sCuMBaG and ibaneZ playing for the NK team. They are down one match as they just lost the first match to NewbAss and ryuzaki, and I have to say some very interesting play coming from these players. NewbAss what he did is he sacrificed 150 minerals of his early minerals to throw down two assimilators for ryuzaki, so that ryuzaki didn't have to waste those minerals, so that he would be a little bit further ahead and able to get that early gas while not slowing down his build. And it looks like he may actually be doing it again. No, he decided that he won't, I guess, as they decided not to. But it was a very smart play when you're going tanks, because if you're going tanks, the whole point of tanks is to get them out as quickly as possible. They secure your foothold on the map. They help you hold your expansions, your naturals. And on the map that we were on before, that was an extremely effective play. It looks like they decided against that style of play this time around, and they won't be going for that as they decided not to do that. Now we see here sCuMBaG is going for a pretty normal build. As we know, early expansions are not very common. In 2v2s, as they are just too risky. So like in 1v1s we'll often see Zerg players will throw down their hatchery even before spawning pool, but that is extremely uncommon in 2v2, and I think that even most people would agree that that would be a mistake in a 2v2 unless you're in some kind of situation where your partner can completely defend you. But that's even very difficult, I mean, because you're dealing with two players on the other side and not one, and if one of you is delayed, you can definitely expect some early pressure. So here we go, the complete wall off going down for ryuzaki and NewbAss. They definitely don't want any Zergling run-bys. This is very, very important. Oh, they're canceling that. I'm not sure why he did that. Maybe because he needs to move these still in order to make some tech lab or reactors. So I'm not sure if that's the reason why. We'll see very soon what the situation there was, why he canceled that. I guess he wanted the minerals for something else. So, but in the meantime, we do see that this is completely walled off, and as I mentioned, this is extremely important. He needs to pop that back up. Very nice, popping that back up quickly as possible. And this is very important against Zerg. You definitely don't want Zerglings in your base. And put that back up. Yes, you definitely. It doesn't matter if Noob loses that. That's a 50 mineral loss, but that is a lot less than the havoc that even 3 Zerglings can do in your base if they're used properly. They can run around and pick off probes, and even if the probes can fight, but if they're microed properly, and especially at this level of play, players tend to these level of players, they will micro these units very, very well and keep them alive and do the maximum amount of damage that they can. And that's what you don't want is Zerglings running free in your base. Let's bring up the production tab and see what is being produced. I like this Marauder in this bunker here. It's just got such a huge range. However, unfortunately, this tech lab is within reach of these Marines, and the Marines will be able to pick up this tech lab, and they might even be able to pick off this supply depot here. Yes, they will. Oh, they need to back up a little bit, but it's yep, there he goes. He's able to get it. He just needs to watch out. There we go. Very nice play right there, even as trying to find just the right spot where he's able to hit that supply depot. And as soon as that supply depot goes down, the Zerglings, the speed that has just finished upgrading, will be able to run right in and get a surround on these units. And nice clutch force field going down by NewbAss, throwing down that force field and blocking off the Zerglings. 2 Zerglings running in here. They're going to try to do some damage, but 2 Zerglings, see, even that little pulling them off, a little bit of time, pulling those probes off, that harassment is effective. It does stop the mining time, even for that split second. And at this level, it also keeps people looking at their probes. And here, going to come back in, going to try to pick 1 or 2 off. Oh, but those probes going to pull back out, try and do something. And now with the sentry here, they will deal with this no problem. Going to take some damage, but 1 sentry can definitely take on two Zerglings. Meanwhile, these Zerglings move around. The Wallen is recompleted. This Marauder very nicely positioned up on the high ground so that they don't fall into this trap of the supply depot being blocked again. NewbAss throwing down a Photon Cannon as well, although I would have kind of liked a Photon Cannon on the high ground instead of the Marauder on the high ground. That might have been quite nice. They are throwing down destructible rocks, and I believe so then one of them. It'll be interesting. I'd be very interested to see which player in this game actually takes that. We don't see a command center already being built, so we're not sure which player it will be that will actually end up taking this natural expansion, which the natural expansion here is shared by both players, and it is a gold. So it's definitely whichever player takes it will obviously be the player that that is more focused on doing whatever their main strategy is. So for example, if their main strategy is for NewbAss to go carriers or something like that, then obviously they're going to want him at the gold. So it will be interesting to see here what happens here. But I like this style play, and everything, all these things like this are very important in 2v2, especially at this level. It's very, very important that you figure out who's doing what, and why, and what they need to do it, and what's more effective. You're 2 instead of 1, so I mean, like giving your player the expansion. Like here we see NewbAss is getting prepared to throw this down, so NewbAss will be the one getting this expansion, and if he is going for Mass Void Ray or Mass Carrier or anything like that, then he's definitely going to need that gold expansion. And are these no, they're normal Vespene geysers. I was wondering if they were rich Vespene geysers or not, as we do see sometimes in these in some of the custom maps that like to be played in. Oh, look at these Zerglings all over the place, just kind of keeping full map control. But we now do see an army for ryuzaki and NewbAss pushing out right now. And meanwhile, these siege tanks sieging up. Although I just don't know if there'll be enough with these Marines to deal with this this army that's pushing out here. And running some Lings around. And look at these very smartly. They're taking control of these El Naga watchtowers. They want the map control here. They want to be in control. We do see that sCuMBaG is the one that will be getting. And I think it's pretty smart when you're playing with a Zerg player to let them get the safe expansion, as they need the expansion just to produce units. Meanwhile, I guess Overlords have been being picked off as sCuMBaG was blocked off for just a moment there. ibaneZ getting a little too risky with that Viking. He's going to want to pull that Viking back for fear that, I mean, one stim and these guys can move. I mean, skim is not researched, but of course he does not know that at this time, whether stim is researched or not, and you don't want to risk getting stimmed under. Although once again, he may have been trying to force the stim in order to weaken the units. And that's actually a pretty smart play. You know, if you get a whole group of units, if you spare one unit to get every single one of these units to lose 10 HP, that's kind of worth it in the long run, I guess. Especially if there are no, if you don't see any dropships on the field, which there are no dropships on the field right now. We do see Groovespine is going down for sCuMBaG, so it looks like sCuMBaG is definitely going to be going for some kind of Hydra build. We do see that NewbAss is pushing out here and just keeping some full map control with this Phoenix and Void Rays. Very nice play coming from him. They're going to be able to... Ooh, look at how close he came to finding that Overlord. sCuMBaG's Overlord there, not being spotted though. So, but this map control is great. They're able to keep the whole entire map scouted and see if they're throwing down bases anywhere, and they have full control of the middle. Although actually scratch that. So we see one player is lagging out here, so we'll just have to wait for that. Correction on my end. This is actually ibaneZ and sCuMBaG that are now controlling the middle. So they were able to push the forces back. I don't know if there was actually a fight there, and if I missed it, but I don't think there was. Alright guys, we're back now, and sorry about that. We just had somebody that got kicked out of the game as they timed out, and so I just wanted to cut that portion out. And here we have a nice fight going on. Stim is research for both players. Stim being thrown down, tanks unfortunately not sieged, one of them being lifted off, and Immortal in the mix as well. And it looks like ryuzaki and NewbAss are just able to pull out and completely destroy the army from ibaneZ and sCuMBaG. And I gotta say, you know, ibaneZ and sCuMBaG are both playing extremely well, but the chemistry that NewbAss and ryuzaki have is just incredible. The way that they play together and the way that they complement each other is just quite intense. And I'm really loving this play from them. They play so extremely well. It's just amazing. So we see that that NewbAss and ryuzaki just pushing in here, although losing all those Void Rays now, but they are walling off from the reinforcements, and they should be, with the Immortals especially, able to take this this expansion out. We did see a heal go down from the Queen, but I do not think that will be enough. We see these Marines running around. Look at this excellent play by NewbAss and sCuMBaG. See, most players would just go in and go for the kill on the hatchery, but no. What do? They leave the units that have a plus armor damage on the hatchery, which is armored, and then with the Marines that do not have plus damage to armored, they stimmed them and run them around and killed all of the drones so that the drones did not get away. Because sometimes just taking out a hatchery is not enough, as the drones can go back and keep mining back at another base. I mean, it does slow the player down, but not quite as much as destroying a whole base full of drones. And a whole base full of drones is, of course, much more expensive and takes much longer to build up than just a base itself. So now NewbAss and ryuzaki now losing that whole push, but doing a devastating amount of damage there. They are now pushing out with medevacs. I like this switch over to get some medevacs. This is very nice. This will help his army quite a bit, especially since he likes to use that stim so much. Like, they like to get their drugs in them, and but they definitely need some medicine on hand to deal with the damage that does. So meanwhile, we see these Immortals, 4 Immortals pushing out, dealing with those tanks very nicely. And ibaneZ trying to get this expansion right here, but it has been spotted, and here we go. And somebody mentioning that there are 3 robos down. There are 3 robos down, and that's just pulling out a massive amount of Immortals. And we see another Immortal being built and a Robo Bay going down, and soon I think we will be looking at the Mighty Colossus. And quite a few of them. If that is, of course, if ryuzaki and ibaneZ, if ryuzaki and NewbAss don't finish this game right now, it looks like we see NewbAss is a little bit undecided about what he wants to do. He is getting this expansion right now, which is a very smart play. Always push expand. Very important in StarCraft, whether in 1v1 or 2v2. The push expand is just so great because while you're fighting on the forward front, you're going to be able to expand at the same time, while still having time to rebuild your forces. And you want to do it right as this push goes out. So as you can see, he didn't wait until he was already here, because if he did it here, it might be too late, and he's wasting those resources that he needs to rebuild a new army. And now these Immortals, just look at the damage they do to structures, to armored units. They just completely decimating them. And at this point, the production line, there it is, the GG and the well played from sCuMBaG, and that is wrapping this up. So 2-0 for our players here, ryuzaki and NewbAss just pulling it out, and there's the first Colossus as the game is already over. Well played by all players involved. Excellent job.